G'day. So back on the Lancia for this episode, and I have gone ahead and done quite a bit of work on this car. It's all sort of work that requires a lot of gapping and measurements and a lot of things, and you don't really visually see a lot of progress. There's a lot of hours in it, but not a lot of visual sort of progress, so I haven't really got any of that. But for today, I'll be working on doing some gapping down in these lower parts of this front end, because when this front end comes off, as you unpeel a lip, lips can tend to crack and split. So I'll be just making a new edge for this lip down in here, and then gapping that up to the door, and then the bottoms here as well, making new bottom sections with a little wide edge, a little bit of shape in there, and then gap to the door as well. So the old ones that are in here, they're all lead loaded, and the panel has been put on top of a rusty panel in here, so everything in this section will be completely rusted and gone. And it's a very common thing to have in basically any car. Bottom guards on most cars rust out and just die. So things I have done on this is a lot of work, just making up these two front sections in here, bringing up a bit of a low spot that was in here, a bit of work on the inside of these gutter rails as well, replacing things where it was rusted out, and then fixing up the roof in this as well. So the roof was really out of whack. It was really pushed over to one side, and I measured up the old front windscreen, and the old front windscreen was actually trimmed down on one side, and that pillar on that side had been cut, and it was a little bit shorter than this side. So a lot of measurements when things were getting squared up was out of whack. So that has been cut up in this area, and the roof lifted about 15 mil just for everything to properly line up. And I've purchased a new windscreen for a brand new windscreen to come in here, which will be nice as well, because it won't have any scratches or anything. So when the car's built and it's freshly painted, new trim and everything, it's going to be nice to look at as some fresh glass as well. So a lot of that's been corrected as well. Doors are hung so we can get body lines lined up and everything in this build as well. And we'll get cracking on this, fold up a few little bits, make a couple of paper patterns, and then put some body lines in, wide edge, a little bit of shape. So cheers for tuning in, guys. So I've got a bit of a blank for this panel in here. So I've added a little bit of material on the edges for the wide edge, and material on the back edge to fold and gap up to the door, and then extra material on the bottom to fold and come underneath. So this is quite a flat panel in through here, but you always want to wheel and add just a tiny bit of shape to things, even if it's a little bit flat, because if you just roll it that way, that will tend to suck in and it's not going to make for a good job. So just add just a tiny bit of shape this way into this panel here. So it does shape with the door this way, but you just want to add just a tiny bit there just to give it rigidity, and then you're absolutely going to be heading in the right track, and it's never going to suck in. So we'll run through, give this a little bit of a wheel, put the body line in, and then start lining a few things up for the wide edge and lining up for the door. main shape, I've already gone and put a little bit of wheel through there. So that's got its little bit of shape in there. I've put the body line up in here, and then just up in this area here, it actually starts to flare out a little bit. So I've stretched the material in this zone a little bit, just starting to create that flare coming up. And then run my wide edge. So this whole front section is fitting and clecoed in place to where it needs to line up for the final welding part. So now I've got that in place, I'm going to put some tape on the door just in through here, and then I can mark off the door edge onto a little bit of tape that's on here. And then when I mark off that door edge, do that at a set distance. So I've got a line which is the exact shape of the door on the door. And then off that line, I want to mark an extra 3mm off that line forward, because I want a 3mm gap. So you want to know what that distance is from the door edge to the line, and then from your line you want to come 3mm more, producing you a 3mm gap. So I'll have all this in position and then get my dividers, and I actually put it on the line and do like a little bit of a scribe line, and you'll see it's kind of like a bit of a U shape. And then at the tips of each one of those sort of half moons, that's where you want your fold line to be, right at the top of that. So the top of the arc is the point of where that fold's going to be. So we'll mark that out, put the fold coming back, and then that'll be our door gap area. And then move into doing the section up in here, and then start welding some things in. After marking the fold line of where the fold's going to be coming into the door, I've run some tape all the way along that top side of the mark. I've run the tape the whole way and then cut that tape on the other side so it's an equal distance, and then set the dividers from the edge to where the edge of the tape sits, and then I can flip it around on the other side on the bench and then mark that out. And then that's marked where my fold line is, ready to take it to the bead roller and finish off the process. So that panel's tacked in. That's an even gap all the way through, and then into this top section. So I've stretched the outside material, shrunk the inside, just to add a new lip into here. Then this can be evenly gapped all the way through, and then some of the damage that's been up in here can be fixed as well. So that fits to the shape of the door, and then just needs setting back at an even distance, the same as the bottom panel, and then that can all be welded in, and then hammer it up and clean up the welds, and it'll make for a nice gapped area. And then when the door skins get redone, it'll be even nicer. everything is welded in this now. So the top section up in here, welded in, bottom section welded in and gapped up. And I've gone and done a pillar on this side because the old pillars were creased up and damaged. So I've got a pillar here, and then I've done an outer pillar on the other side, just to fix up some things here in the area for the window. So I do need to fix the roof and mount the roof as well. And that gapping technique is just a way that I do it. It's probably other ways to do it, but that's just the way that I do it. And I'll use that same technique when I'm doing the door skins. So I need to take the skins off. They're actually a little bit damaged, and then the inner frame's rusted out as well. So I'll fix up the inner frame and the rust in there and do new skins. But I've got to fully weld the front and fully weld the rear, and then fold these lips over so I can gap it to its final position and where everything's going to sit, and then the doors will sit really nicely in there, and that can be gapped. So this is another little tool that I do use for gapping, and this is it here. So this top side is 3mm, the bottom side's 4mm, and it's 5mm thick in the center. So that is a tool that you can put in your gap and then put that in there, and then you know your area is equal all the way through. So if you are setting areas, whether the panel's complete or you're making it, that's a nice little handy tool to have. So I am thinking about making it and selling it, so you guys let me know if you want something like this, and I'll think about a way that I can make these. So that'd be a pretty cool thing. And yeah, thanks guys for tuning in, and hope you've enjoyed the episode. Cheers guys.